Eryn Shriver, and my son John is 16. He'll be 17 in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Maybe I'll turn you just a little bit so you can look at me, little John, when he was a little one.
When he was, we knew from very young that he was, he remembered things much better than most kids, than any of us.
Than the adults.
He would. One of our favorite stories is when he quoted Newton's laws of physics to us, and he was maybe 5 or 4 gosh. Because he had read it somewhere or heard it somewhere.
Wow.
We were trying to make a Rube Goldberg machine.
Oh yeah,
and a 4-year-old making a Rube Goldberg machine is kind of crazy anyway. But we were working on it, and he said something about. I said, "Well, what happened?" We had the mousetrap game out. And I said, "What happens when you do that?" He said, "Well, Mom, that's kinetic energy. That's the second law of physics." And I went, "What?" And, he's been ready for high school since 2nd grade.
Yes.
We didn't accelerate him because socially he wasn't ready. He didn't get the social cues, the how to make friends. He was convinced that if someone didn't want to play the game he wanted to play, that was bullying. Like, well, not really, not quite. But they didn't want to do it. I want to do it. Well, that's not bullying. That's just bullying. Not wanting to play what you want to play.
Right.
Grade was rough. It was bumpy. And so by about a month in, his anxiety was so high, just so high. He was in the corner of the class, rocking, saying, "My life is horrible. My life is terrible. I hate my life. What's wrong with me?" And so they called us, and we took him into the doctor and got him on antidepressants at that point.
And what do you think was it about 2nd grade that made it bumpy? It could have been like a combination of personalities with the teacher.
Part of it was personalities. One of the biggest things was the classroom management system she used. It was the clips on the stoplight thing.
Kind of punitive.
Very punitive, very public.
Oh.
So she would move your clip, up and down the thing depending on your behavior during the day, so everybody could see. And so if you're down low on in the orange and the reds, everybody can see that. And so the kids who know enough at that point to poke him.
Oh yeah, they want to see him go to red.
Yeah,
because that's kids.
Because that's kids. And so he felt so overwhelmed by that there was no possible way he would ever get to the top. That there's nothing he could do to get to the top because he couldn't sit in the seat. He couldn't stay focused.
So the rules as set forth were never going to be for him. No. They just weren't for him. They weren't going to work. And she wasn't going to change him.
She wasn't going to change him, not for the class.
They were at an impasse. Because he physically couldn't do it.
Physically could not do it.
And she wouldn't do anything else.
And we tried several things, but she was committed to this classroom management system.
So tell me more about what you tried or what felt frustrating as a parent. And I won't take any of it offense because I know I was part of that too.
No. Well, he was, so his diagnosis currently is ADHD combined. So that's the movement and the attention.
Yeah.
And whatever level ASD, which used to be Asperger's, but now it's like called level whatever spectrum. Plus anxiety.
So lots of neurodivergency swimming together.
Yes. And he has dysgraphia, which is a writing disability.
Oh, right. That's right.
So
so a 2E type is twice exceptional kind of stuff going on as well.
Yeah. So writing is really, really hard for him. And getting it out onto the papers, his brain is going 1,000 miles a second.
Yeah.
But getting it out on the paper is really hard for him.
Is the hard stuff.
So in 6th grade, his English teacher loved him.
Oh,
fabulous. Loved him. Nothing but good things to say. In 7th grade, he had the same English teacher because he moved up a level.
Yeah.
And John was so rude to that teacher and so mean to that teacher. We were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And, we were getting emails and that sort of thing. And we're like, we're really sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what's going on.
And it just didn't feel like him.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And we always tried to emphasize smart later in the list. You know,
like kind and
kind and funny
curious
and a good heart and curious, and smart came later. And we were really intentional about that. I don't know if he heard it, but because everybody else around him
pelted him with
it's always, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart. I think at that point the depression really hit. And he would talk about killing himself.
And for any parent,
I know, right? it's just a knife right here.
It's like our number one fear in the world. So as a parent, I mean, going through that, what were some of, if you want to speak to other parents who are traveling those hard paths, what words of wisdom, any wisdom you got from that?
I don't have a whole lot of wisdom, but
he's here and he's alive, so you've done something.
He is, and honestly, he was getting ready to flunk out of 8th grade, and we knew that, and there was we couldn't figure out what to do to change that, and we were, we were throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. We try everything, and honestly, the pandemic is what saved him.
Being able to just walk away from that for a moment.
Away from it.
Wow.
For a year and a half. He didn't have to be around people. He didn't have to work so hard to feel like he was failing. Which is what he was doing.
Not just failing at academics, but working so hard to fail at social, at being normal.
It took so much energy for him to work so hard. And he still felt like he failed at everything. So the end of 8th grade, that was, for March of 2020. And they did nothing.
Right.
They just hung out and did nothing.
And
watched videos and played video games and sat in his room and sat on the swing and did nothing that whole summer.
That was the cure.
And that was the cure.
Oh my God, that's amazing to hear.
The next year, he did school from home, which was still a struggle. So he did 9th grade from home. It was still a struggle, but somewhere in there, he put together that it is his responsibility to do the work. That he can learn it if he reads it. And if he reads it and doesn't get it, he can read it again. And if he reads it again and doesn't get it, he can ask somebody. He put those pieces together. By doing the work from home.
Without the stress of, I have to look, people are looking at me or thinking this about me, or I'm social, none of the social pressure. He could learn how to learn. That's really interesting.
Without the social pressure around him. It's really hard. And this summer has been formative as well, because we did push him to get a job. We said, you're 16, you have to get a job. You have to work somewhere. He wants to go to Germany with the German class next summer. It was really rocky the first week. He came home and said he cried every day. He cried every day. He'd go in a corner and cry for a minute and go, no.
Wow, because the sensory input in a grocery store
input is high,
and not knowing how to do things.
The expectations of what he needed to do were unclear.
Oh gosh,
not knowing how
lack
to
of
do
structure,
not knowing exactly how to do the job.
For an ADHD kid, how do I sequence this?
Panicked.
They give you a big task, like stack this. How do I sequence that? What does that mean? Where's the stack? Gosh, I could totally see that.
But he stuck with it because we said, you have to do this.
That's amazing.
So we really pushed him to do this. He came home the first 3 days, said, I'm quitting. I'm not working anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. We said, just give it a little more time. And we also have to be really specific with him on gauging the size of things. I can't do this for 2 more years. Type of thing. Right. We're not asking to do it for 2 more years.
And you've never sequenced something like this before.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I forget all the time with my own ADHD kid is that they can be so intelligent and know so many things, but the sequencing will still be difficult. They could know everything about the Cold War. Watched every documentary. Can't put it in a research paper. Because they don't know how to sequence
They don't know how to sequence it, right?
Have no clue how to start writing this research paper.
Yeah,
and
that's John. I think for elementary, really focusing on, even though they already know the material, teaching them how to learn. I know you know this, but how would you learn it if you didn't?
No. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I because that's where he got stuck.
Yeah.
Is that he didn't know how to learn.
Yeah.
The punitive classroom management stuff, we just can't do.
Yeah, the totalitarian stuff is just not the way for them.
He just cannot do it. But yeah, because that's what they're doing in elementary, is they're learning how to learn.
Yeah.
But he hasn't run into anything he doesn't know yet.
Yeah. So he's not like he's missing that big piece of content.
Yes. So he didn't get that until much later, and he had to figure it out himself. One thing we found out with the OT, he would write really small and all on one line and scrunch it all up together and little tiny. We're like, why are you writing so small? He said, well, because the forests are disappearing, Mom, and I don't want to use up all the paper. Oh, are you kidding me? Seriously, that's why you're doing this?
Such a gifted thing to say.
And so we showed him the label on the paper that said it's 100% recycled and made from 100% recycled paper. And then he was like, oh, okay. And would use margins.
Oh my gosh, that's so hilarious.
What you think he's doing, why he's writing like that, from edge to edge of the paper and won't use more than 2 lines and squashes it all together, is not because he's being difficult.
Yeah.
It's because he's concerned about the planet.
And he can hold that existential concern
in his head while he's writing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's...
what third
perfect
grader,
illustration, right? As a third grader, yeah.
What third grader is worried about deforesting the globe because he used too much notepaper? Because he doesn't have to be smart to do this job.
Yes, right? It works, but it works him so hard.
Yeah.
It works his transition skills. It works his sequencing. It works his I'm overwhelmed, but I have to keep going.
I have to keep smiling. I have to social. I have to understand what they want me to do.
Yeah, I have to read cues.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great job.
So for 4 hours, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
That's all. We don't want him to do any more than that.
Right, because that's a full load on his brain.
That's a full load on his brain. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the other thing I was going to say to you is the more I researched when he was young and when he was young, I kept reading books and going, man, I do that. Wow, holy cow. Well, I feel like that too. And the more and more I read that, I finally went just before the pandemic and did a full exam, and I was diagnosed with ADHD. And it's not, it didn't come as a surprise to me at all. Yes.
I've been treated for women have not been diagnosed ever.
I've been treated for depression since I was 22-ish.
Yeah.
But then I think back on my childhood where I didn't have medication and I didn't have therapy and I didn't have any of these things.
Yeah.
And I just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I came up with a lot of not real great coping strategies.
Yeah. Yeah.
that I'm having to unlearn.
Yeah.
That tells me in my head, oh my God, you're such a loser.
Yes.
So
oh wow, that's really interesting.
To unlearn all of that.
You have to do your work as a parent.
Right. And so it's really hard to teach your kids stuff that you don't know how to do.
Oh, that's really good, Eryn.
So
that just resonates. Invest in yourself to invest in your kids.
Yeah.
We started saying you had it. You had it.
So as a teacher, that's in the back of your mind. Yes, the kid is struggling and it's entirely possible. The parents are trying to figure this out too. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're doing what the therapist said, but it's not working.
We're
doing what the teacher said, but it's not working. We're doing what the book said, but it's not working. We're doing what all these things say to do, but none of it's working.
None of it's working.